Hi guys, welcome back to another week. We are today going to be reviewing solving inequalities. Today is the 21st. And I'm on page 19. You may have written bigger than me and needed more pages. You may have written smaller. Let me just have it focus one more time. I'm going to flip the page. 19. Okay. So you should have the paper. I'm sorry they didn't print on pink. I tried. Yours is just going to be white, but I'm going to go through it with you. The first thing I want you to do is just put your name in the upper corner so that if it comes unglued from your journal, we can get it. So we're going to be working a lot on our vocabulary in this class. We're working on getting the right vocabulary down, being able to speak it properly, and sound intelligent when we discuss math. So I'm hoping that we remember what these symbols mean. Hopefully you remember that this is less than. This is less than or equal to. This one's greater than. Greater than or equal to. The first thing we're going to do is distribute. So these are the steps already written out, and we're going to work a problem down the side. The problem we're going to work is 147 is greater than -7 times the quantity of -3 plus x. So I do need to distribute because I have parentheses. So I'm going to multiply this to each part of it. So I have a 147 is greater than a -7 times a -3, positive 21, -7 times a positive x, -7x. Then the next step is to combine like terms on both sides. So if we just draw a line right here, these are not like terms. There's not an x in this one, so I can't put those together. And this is only one term, a constant term, so it has nothing else it can combine with on this side of the equals. So we are done. Move the variable to one side. Already done. This is the only side with a variable, so that's good. Now we're going to move all the constants. Now here you might need to remember that a constant just means just a number. A variable is a letter. So we need to move this number to the other side. So I'm going to come down here. -21, -21, and I'm going to bring this all down. So the 7x comes down. I'm going to just draw an arrow. This is what we're doing right here. 7 take away 1. Sorry, I just made that a 7. It's not supposed to be. 7 take away 1 is 6. 4 take away 2 is 2. And the 1 comes down. So I have 126 is greater than -7. I'm going to bring this down here. So the last step is to either multiply by the denominator. Remember the denominator? This means the bottom of a fraction. And I can't stress this enough. This or, I wish it was like 500 times more bold. You're either going to multiply by the denominator or you're going to divide by the coefficient. Coefficient is the number with your variable. So in this case, we have -7. We're going to divide by -7. Now notice what it says here. We need to remember to flip the inequality sign when we multiply or divide by a negative. So I'm dividing by a negative. Notice I'm not dividing by the x. We're only dividing by the coefficient, or the number in front of the x. This would be a negative 18. This is going to flip. We're flipping because we're dividing by a negative. And that's my answer. Now they can also write it, they can flip the whole equation over, where the x is on this side and the 18 is on this side, but the little alligator mouth has to be facing the same object, or the same term. So in this case it's facing the x, so it needs to still be facing the x. And that's basically everything. Let's do a couple quick examples. So we want the variable by itself. The first thing I'm going to do is find the variable. Boom. I don't need to distribute because there are no parentheses. There's no multiplication happening. There's no like terms on either side for me. I can't put 15 with anything because there's nothing on the side. There's no other groups of A's and there's no other groups of just numbers. So what I'm going to do is subtract 6 from both sides. 15 take away 6 is 9. Greater than or equal to, this little symbol stays. This is your inequality symbol. The A comes down, and make sure that these actually cancel each other out. Are they different signs? If they're not different signs, they're not going to cross each other out. And this is it. It can also be written excuse me, with the A first. And notice that the inequality flips as well. If you flip the equation, you have to flip the inequality. So it's either one of these. And the reason I'm trying to show you this is because you're going to be doing a maze, and you have to be able to tell which one it's going to be. We already know the answer is going to be 2, but you've got to be able to tell which way the mouth is facing, which way the inequality is heading. So for number 2, we have no distributing we need to do. We don't need to combine any like terms. I got the variables on one side. I'm just going to divide by that negative 11. When we divide, sorry, that's 11. When we divide by a negative, we need to remember to flip the inequality. So I don't know what this is off the top of my head, but I'm going to do 187 divided by, don't forget your negative, negative 11. I'm getting negative 17. The inequality is going to flip because we divided by a negative. If we divided by a positive, nothing changes. But when I divide by a negative, it does. And don't forget, we can write it with the x first. Make sure that negative is with the 17 and doesn't look like a triple equal sign. All right, first thing I'm going to do, I can't distribute, there's no parentheses, I can't combine like terms, so I'm going to isolate the variable. I'm going to get the variables already on the side by this side, but I want to move this 4 to the other side. I want to get all the other terms on the other side. Remember, a term is anything that's separated by a plus or minus sign. And now here's where we're going to multiply by the denominator. Now I do want to point out, this symbol didn't flip, we subtracted. Adding and subtracting doesn't change the sign. Multiplying and dividing by a negative does. I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. So this is multiplied by 3. Those cross out. Make sure you're using a dot and not an X. And that's it. We could have also written negative 12 is greater than A. Last one for today. First things I'm going to check for. Don't need to distribute. Can't combine like terms. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. 137 take away 2. 135. Divide by negative 9. Dividing by a negative. Need to flip the inequality sign. I don't know what this is, but I know it's going to be negative. I'm going to check in my calculator. 135 divided by negative 9. Negative 15. And that's my answer. Or m is greater than negative 15. That's all, guys. Good job.